And my rant today is going to be kind of basically about owning lots of bikes, owning more than one bike. I think that's good, but it also has its downfalls, you know, when all of your bikes need something.
Ride on, juggle, let your spirit be free, with the wind at your back and the whole world.
I told you I knew where I was.
Juggle, let your heart be your guide, in the depths of the thunder, it's your rant and your ride.
All of my bikes except the little 250 here needs oil changes. So they all gotta have oil changes. You know, so that's probably gonna be about $100+ to get them all oil changed. The 790 needed new chain and sprockets and a new tube for the front tire. Needed a tube for the front tire, not a new tube, a tube, because it just leaks air all the time, so we put a tube in it. This bike needs a new vapor, and I would have bought one on the Oregon Giant Loop Rally trip, but I could never find the vapor guys in their booth. I think I said I went to their booth 3 times and they were never in their booth, you know. Had the booth there, but nobody. The first time somebody was attending it, but they couldn't sell anything. They were just watching the booth. And then the second time, same thing. It was like nobody was around. And the third time was the last day I ran over there, because they said they had discounts on products, you know, and I wanted to get a new vapor for this. You know, it just has kind of quit working, and the previous owner of this bike, for some reason, he chopped all the ends up. He was having issues with them or something, but so that's what this bike needs. All the other bikes need oil changes. The XR, besides the 790 adventure bike, the XR is the most set up for long rides. Like, I like to go to Beatty. I like to go to Tonopah. You know, the XR and the 790, you know, they get over 200 miles per tank full. They get over 200 miles per tank full, so and the Husqvarna does get 200 miles, but you're squeaking on fumes. And sometimes the XR, if the wind's blowing a lot and you're fighting the wind, it'll get bad gas mileage, so, you know, it won't go 200 miles. You're like 30 miles short. But I can carry gas on the XR. On the Husqvarna, at the moment, I can't. So the Husqvarna basically right now needs an oil change and a rack. So to get a rack for it costs $450. I was going to ride the XR, and I pulled the XR out, I started it, I warmed it up, I checked the oil, put a little oil in it, because it does burn oil, it seeps a little oil, and yeah. And after I did that, turned it off and went to kickstart it. I can't get it to kickstart. I could push it down the driveway and compression start it. Well, that's weird. I got orange netting across the river. Okay. But I cannot get it to kickstart. I know on my last Beatty adventure where I said unexpected trip to Beatty, you know, it was being a little fussy, but it was starting. Now I can't get it to kickstart. I can push it down the driveway and compression start it, but it won't, and then I can stop it and kickstart it once or maybe twice, and then it won't start. So I'm thinking it needs a valve adjustment. All right, so the XR is down, and that really makes me sad, you know, because I mean, I love the XR. It's always kind of like a reliable standby, but probably needs a valve adjustment now. This bike is my Miss Eldorado, so, you know, generally I use it in Eldorado only. I didn't buy it to do cross-country rides. I only put a 3-gallon tank on it. And it really doesn't get that good of gas mileage, so it gets around 35 to 40. My gas two-stroke gets over 40 miles a gallon, but it's only got a 2-gallon tank. So you go to Yerington and it's time to get gas. So you know, I've got two bikes that are ready for long distance, you know, the XR and the 790. The Husqvarna is, of course, probably funner than the XR. You know, it weighs 35 pounds less than the XR, faster, but I need to get a rack on it. So that's kind of my rant about all the bikes. I've really been jonesing to get back over towards Tonopah. Next week is the Vegas to Reno race. Actually, Beatty to Dayton race. And then the desert's gonna be even more destroyed than it is now. So, you know, I wanted to get out, you know, because you should know. So I wanted to get out before the desert's all really destroyed. You know, it'll be like that until you get a good rain and it put some water in the silt. And this bike probably wouldn't make it from Hawthorne to Tonopah. It's iffy. You know, if I get bad gas mileage, I could run out of gas outside of Tonopah. If I get 40 miles a gallon, you know, it'll be kind of like the Husqvarna. I'll squeak in there with barely any gas. But so that's why I'm out on the 250. You know, it has had an oil change. It's got a new clutch in it. It's just not as fun anymore in El Dorado Canyon as it used to be with the Recluse. The Recluse is burned up. You know, that's $500 to get it replaced. $450. So that's going to be a while till that happens, but I will put a Recluse back in it because this bike was solely for El Dorado. I mean, that's kind of what I bought it for, was like, I'm going to use it in El Dorado, period. And really, I didn't know how much I enjoyed the Recluse until you don't have it anymore. And it's like, yeah, for El Dorado Canyon, the Recluse clutch was just, it was the bomb. It was really nice. Really, really nice it was. But anyway, I think I'm going to get over to, I had a friend who asked me if I wanted to go up Como last weekend, and I said, yeah, but I think he wanted to take big bikes up Como, you know. I don't know if he has a dirt bike. I think he only has an adventure bike, possibly, and I'm like, yeah, Como's kind of iffy. I mean, it's rugged. Como's always rugged, and there's one spot that kind of has a little stair step, rocky. You know, the big bike can easily do it. I'm talking about my ability to not drop the bike. I don't want to drop the bike, you know, the big bike. So maybe I'll ride up Como on this tomorrow. You know, I got a few more rides before I got to do oil changes on this. But anyway, that's my rant. So having multiple bikes, you have bikes to fall back on unless you didn't do any maintenance on any of them. But the XR wasn't working out for me. It's got an issue, which really makes me sad. I'm gonna take her down. I've got check the pumper carb on it, make sure that's not having any issues, but it runs after I get it started, so I'm not sure why that would be an issue. It could be. And I bought a new coil for it, because I thought I was having coil issues with it before, but it was actually the spark plug wire. So I may need to get a new spark plug wire for it. You know, if I ride slow enough on this and keep my hand out of the throttle, you know, then maybe I could make it to Tonopah, you know, but I'm gonna have to get, I have a 3-gallon tank. And it's 100 from Hawthorne to Tonopah. It's 105 miles. So even if I get 35 miles a gallon, theoretically I should be able to squeak into Tonopah. But if I get 45 miles a gallon, I got it made in the shade. I just like riding through the desert. You know, you can see farther. You can usually see dust clouds of people coming. I think most of my friends, you know, they headed for the mountains. You know, because it's cooler. You know, it's 92 degrees out here today, so I put on my leather. I still think I should have put a stage 2 cam in this. It runs good with the stock cam. I think it would have given it a little more oomph with the stage 2. Then I might have been able to gear it up a tooth. The suspension is rougher on this bike than all the other bikes. Better than it was when I bought it. But out of all those bikes, and I've had the XR for probably 13 years. Not exactly exactly sure. I've had it for a long time, and the suspension's never been serviced, never been worked on, and the suspension just works. I mean, I can tell it's softened up since I first got the bike, but that bike still feels like it's got some of the best suspension on it. This bike is better now, but I crashed the hardest on this bike because of the suspension. Out of the bikes I have right now. I mean, the hardest crash I ever took was on my Husaberg 501 at about 90-something miles an hour. Shuts you out. You know, depending on the gas mileage I get today over to Yerington, I may consider trying to get into Tonopah. But you know, it's just sketchy. You know, they don't like doing gas stations in between Hawthorne and Tonopah. That's not too bad for a car, I guess, or some cars. I know my Subaru only gets 19 miles a gallon, so. However, so we'll get across the bridge over here, start going around to Yerington. Besides all the races that they hold through the desert, you know, the two-track, you know, the two-track, that's getting really torn up with UTVs. So not like it was 10, 15 years ago. You know, what changed the roads back then was rainstorms, snow, but now it's all the off-road vehicles. Motorcycles used to get blamed for all the erosion in the desert. You know, those darn dirt bikes, those guys destroying everything. You know, see, most of the roads are like that, especially the farther you go with good weather, no rainstorms and stuff, you know, the more the UTV guys get out here and see if somebody's coming for miles. If you're in the woods, I mean, riding in the woods is a blast. I did that all through junior high school, living in Lake Tahoe. You know, we rode through the woods. And it was fun. However, I've kicked stumps next to the trail. And no, I didn't have motocross boots. I didn't have motocross boots till I was in my mid-20s probably. So I was wearing work boots without steel toes. I probably wasn't even wearing boots when I was in junior high school. I know I was wearing work boots out of high school. I was racing in work boots and jeans. Ha! Jeans, t-shirt, yeah. Not because that's the way I wanted to ride, but it was because I couldn't afford anything else. Back then they had leathers, real leathers. And real leathers cost $300 for a pair of pants or more. When I first started dirt biking again, after I laid it down for a while, Ford still made a pair of leather motocross pants. The only company that I could find that did. There might have been others, but even after all those years, I think they wanted $200 for a pair of pants. Even, you know, the textile pants, they'll cost you $200. I'd rather be riding in leather. Us old school people. Us old school people would prefer leather. This leather jacket I wear, it's crotch rocket jacket, right? Well, I got it from my nephew. He quit wearing it. I'm not sure why, but I'm like, I'm gonna wear that on my dirt bike. Because it'll take coming off my dirt bike better than a textile jacket. It'll protect me better. It'll still hurt. So I do want to get back over to Beatty again on the Husqvarna. Or the XR, but I don't think the XR is going to get ready again this year. I'll have to do the valve adjustment myself. No money to take it to a shop, and I don't always like taking it to the shop. You always get it back a little bit different than you hope for. And probably instead of spending all the money I did on Miss Eldorado here, I probably should have put the money in the XR, you know, and made sure it was just real dependable. Those XRs are real dependable in stock form. Never had any issues in stock form. I never wore out the original chain and sprockets. Never seeped oil. It always started first kick. No matter if you dropped it. It was, the only thing it wasn't fast. Got good gas mileage. The one thing about XRs is they have an issue with the K-ing carburetor where they hesitate off the bottom. So when you give it gas off the bottom, they lurch. They have like a hiccup. Once you're moving, it's okay, but if you're going slow and taking off the bottom, it lurches, it hiccups. But I always got like 55 miles, 57 miles a gallon with the stock car. It was real fun when I made it a 440. That was like the perfect amount of power for the XR. However, that's when you start having issues. You know, I start stretching the head bolts and seeping oil. And then I had the valves checked, and they said you need a valve job on, I think, the exhaust port, but after I got that done, a month and a half later, it threw that valve, so I don't know. Taking it a little easy out here, slower than I like to ride, but this suspension isn't as good as the other bikes. It can spit you off in a heartbeat if you get all crazy, and I'm trying to kind of see what kind of gas mileage I get if I keep my hand out of the throttle the whole way. See, they got the race markers up already. So this is going to be part of the race course. Turn ahead. So this road, oh, they're going to take this road. Cool. So they're going to use that road, so they'll leave this road alone. Woo! Like that. This suspension does not react fast enough to bumps. It will kick you off. So yeah, after next week, this road's going to be all tore up. And this gets pretty silty right over here. Mile 470, so I think it's like a 520 mile or so race, because it'll end up at the rodeo grounds in Dayton usually. And there should be markers down here. This will be all silt after next week. It'll be a silt bed. So there should be markers going up to Mount Como down here. Be going down this road over 100 though, not 75. Alright, so like I said, you know, I used to ride that road 100% of the time in the old days. And then the last probably 6-7 years, I've been taking this cutoff to go to Yerington. I wanted to get one more ride out here before they tear it up next weekend. So they'll come down this road and they'll continue on till that mountain right there. They're going to go up and over that mountain and drop into Dayton. So we're going to go this way over here where you see the two W's. Wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. That's the way we're going. But this is all going to be, you know, more tore up next week. You know, you should know from my last video in Tonopah. It'll be pretty brutalized. They'll get out here with graders and grade it. However, the silty sections, like back there by the dry lake bed, will remain silt, even though they grade it until we get rainstorms to put some moisture back into the silt. Alrighty. The winds are blowing, the winds are whipping. So we can only go halfway. Hallelujah, Jesus. We can only go halfway down this road and we have to cut over. They have some kind of construction going on. When I brought the 790 over here, it was closed off halfway down. All right, the moment of truth. I'm expecting it used, I'm guesstimating it should have used about 1.5 gallons, but it may have used more than that. I wish these pumps had a slow setting. Gee. Oh, that's really good. Not the price, but 1.1. Like I said, I wasn't gonna, just use my, I wasn't just gonna gun it the whole way. So 1.1. And it's about 65 miles. Okay. So we'll figure that out, but that would be the best gas mileage I ever got, maybe 50 miles a gallon. Something like that. Yeah, so I'm in Yerington. Just eating my 3-piece chicken crunch box. For $9. If you get a snack and a drink, it costs you $11. You get you a decent meal with some macaroni cheese and a biscuit, cost you $9. So $9 it is. I'll leave. Well, I stopped so I could take this. I love this view. That's the road I go down till I get to almost the base of those mountains over there, and then I turn right and get back on the Vegas Arena racecourse. Kind of rough and rugged. Would have been a lot better and a lot funner if I was standing up. I could have launched that. I kind of forgot that little lip was there if you're going that way. It's not really a jump. If you're going this way, it is. Ha ha.
Grab your boots, it's time to roll. Under the stars, gotta lose control. A little country road and a whole lot of soul. Windows down, baby, let the good times flow. We're gonna cruise through the night with the radio blasting our favorite fight. Every mile dodging worry and fear. This is our anthem, loud and clear. And ride with the wheels on fire, screaming out loud, we'll take it higher. Life's a roller coaster, but we're holding tight. Every twist and turn, let's ignite the night. And ride, let the world know we're the free spirits putting on a show. And this soulful journey we'll never hide. Let's shake the dust, let's rant and ride. truck bed we unload our souls, a heartfelt laugh, a fiery debate. With every story we're shaping our fate. We'll keep it real, we won't hold back. Through the ups and downs, we're on the right track. Rain and ride, with the wheels on fire, screaming out loud, we'll take it higher. Life's a roller coaster, but we're holding tight. Every twist and turn, let's ignite the night. Rain and ride, let the world know we're the free spirits putting on a show. And this soulful journey we'll never hide. Let's shake the dust, let's rant and ride. No destination, just a feeling in our hearts, like a canvas waiting for the perfect art. With guitars strumming our favorite song, we're painting memories that last so long. In the rear view, the past is a blur. No, but ahead lie the echoes of dreams that we stir. So pack your heart, let's hit the road, there's no need to hide. So here we stand at the fork in the road, with courage in our hearts, we delight in the low. Ranting and riding, forever side by side. Laughter, love, and a wild ride. So let's rant and ride. Through valleys and peaks, let our spirits glide. Together as one in this beautiful stride. In the journey of life, we rant and
not enough weight on the fin. Works good in the sand, not on the hardback. that's my turn. Yeah, well, you missed it. Hello?
In the quiet of the morning, on a faded dirt road, there's a tale that's been whispered where the good gospel flowed. Jubal's out there riding on a saddle of grace, with a heart full of passion and a smile on his face. He's the voice of the valleys, the echo of the high, with the sun kissing his shoulders. He lets the praises fly through the storms and the struggles. He tells it all true, with a rant that's so mighty, it's the message he knew. Ride on, Jubal, let your spirit be free, with the wind at your back and the whole world to see. Sing loud, Jubal, let your heart be your guide. In the depths of the thunder, it's your rant and your ride. From the mountains to valleys, he travels each mile with a song in his heart and a joy that's worth the while. He's seen the trials and heartaches, felt the struggle deep, but in every hard moment he's found reasons to leap. He preaches redemption with a guitar in hand. Every chord tells a story of a love that's so grand. With each note that he strums, he can lighten the load. Jubal's rant is a journey, life's uncharted road. Ride on, Jubal, let your spirit be free, with the wind at your back and the whole world to see. Sing loud, Jubal, let your heart be your guide. In the depths of the thunder, it's your rant and your ride. Jubal seen the shadows, felt the cold of despair, but he rises with the sunlight, spreading hope everywhere. With a voice that can heal like a balm on the soul, he lifts weary spirits, making broken hearts whole. Through the fear and the doubt, he marches on strong. In the arms of the Savior, he knows he belongs. So let's gather together around the firelight glow. Join in Jubal's passion, let the love overflow. With a beat on the drum and a song in the air, we celebrate the journey as the burdens we bear. Every prayer and each laugh, every tear that we've cried is a part of this journey. It's our rant and our ride. Ride on, dear brother, let the gospel keep you whole. With each step, each whisper, you are touching the soul. So here's to Jubal, with his heart open wide. In the melody of life, it's our rant and our ride.
just leaving Fort Churchill here. Nice little trip to Yerington. Baby Honda, the little 250, seemed to run good the whole time. It got 50 plus miles per gallon going to Yerington. I was pushing the wind coming home. So, and I was a little bit heavier on the throttle, so I probably didn't get 50 on the way home. But it was a nice little trip, smooth, uneventful for the most part. Yep. Might go up Como tomorrow because that's another race course road. And that'll be tore up next week, so won't be going up there for a while. It'll be all beat the dog. So anyway, until next time, like I said, maybe it'll be Como tomorrow, but somewhere, gotta get back out on the mountain bikes too. You know, it's only been a couple of weeks, but yeah, sitting on the dirt bike, not like the seat is comfortable, but only takes a couple of weeks and then you got a sore rumpopotamus. Alrighty. Until next time.